So somebody brought over a mini bike that doesn't run with a box of parts. So they brought a Coleman BT200X, and then on top of that, it has a 212 Ghost, which is a really nice addition for this bike. That definitely should wake it up. And then this Ghost has a billet flywheel and then the rev limiter removed, the rev limiting coil. Then you have a header pipe and a 30 series with a juggernaut. Looks like a stock sprocket. And then the parts they brought, you have a Predator 224, a cast aluminum flywheel, a D-slide carb, and then a rev kit for the Predator 224. And what do you got in here? Cam, 265 cam. That's a Superman series cam, which is a nice cam. And you got the push rods, stainless valves, springs, shaft mounted rockers. Then we have a VM22, and a stock carb. What's this? We got a chain breaker. We got the 6,000 RPM coil from the Ghost. We have some more chain, extra chain, the air filter, some half links, 60 sprocket. We got here, we got a what? 10 tooth, 40 clutch. So we got all these parts and this really nice bike that doesn't run. Or I think when it does start, it only starts for a few seconds and then dies. So they brought this bike and all these parts to see if I get this thing running. And there's two things that stood out to me that would have an adverse effect on the way this bike runs. So I'm gonna go ahead and address the major issue first, and then I'll fix the secondary issue, and then we'll see if we can get this thing started. Yeah, so the mini bike expert always stressed that if you're not gonna use aerodynamic stickers, at least have them straight. So now, let's see if I can get this thing centered on here. Okay, so that looks a lot better. So now, at least if we do get it running, we can take advantage of the power. And then your secondary issue, which is not as big a deal as the stickers, but it's still an issue, is this chain. It is super tight. So not only does it wear the chain prematurely, it wears the sprocket prematurely, it's hard on the wheel bearings, and then it's hard on your jack shaft or torque converter bearings, and it causes undue heat and friction, so you're losing power. So now I'll loosen up this chain so we're not wearing out parts just for fun. I mean, yeah, you can barely push the bike. So that thing is super tight. So make sure I get these even on both sides. So now, there we go. That's a lot better. I mean, yeah, the chain's gonna stretch, but when it does, you just tighten it. So I got the two issues fixed, so now I'll see if I can get this thing to fire up. And he said the gas is kind of old, but it smells okay, so I think it'll run. Or it should run, we'll see. So he said this thing would start for just a minute and then die. So on my Ghost, on this PZ carb, I had the same issue that I had on the VM22s. If there's any leak, which this one's a little bit loose, if there's any leak between the manifold and the carb, this thing will not run right. And this carb here, these bolts are only snug. They're not really tight, so I bet that's probably an issue on this. Just a small leak, and this thing does not run. We got a choke here. Oh, that was a good sign. It fired right up for a second. Well, that was a pretty good sign. They fired right up. So we turn this idle up a little bit, and then I might have to adjust that air screw. But yeah, the thing fired right up. What the heck? See if it'll fire up again the first pull. So it seems like it runs pretty good. So that's what usually happens. A lot of the times it's something simple that keeps these bikes from running right. So now I'll take it out for a 0 to 30 and top speed, and we'll get a baseline on it. Okay, so I ran this thing around for a while and I changed out the oil. So now I'll do a 0 to 30 real quick. Just set up this draggy. 0 to 30, a stock Ghost, other than a billet flywheel and the rev limiter removed on the BT200. Let's see what it did. We did 6.72. So this is a pretty big bike. But to compare, which is a total trip, the 196 Coleman bike was actually quicker than the Ghost. Alright, let me see if I can back that up. See if I can beat a 6.72 with the Ghost. Alright, let's see what we did for the second time around. 6.61, so it's really consistent. 6.61 and a 6.72, so it's pretty much as quick as it's going to get with this gearing and the way it's set up. So let me do a top speed on this, and we'll see what we get with the stock gearing on the BT200 with the Ghost. So far, we did 41.94 or 42 miles an hour. Let me run it down the street here real quick. Check this out. His gas tank mount fell off. Look. Yeah, I think that might be an issue. Alright, let me get this thing back home while holding on the gas tank. I mean, who needs a gas tank anyway? Gas tanks are overrated, man. Gas tanks are just extra weight. I think I'll just go up here and take it off. So the Ghost almost did 45 miles an hour, 44.98, and then 6.61, 0 to 30. So I think to try to wake up the Ghost a little bit, I'm gonna install this 24 millimeter D-slide carb, and we'll see if that helps it out. And then while I'm at it, I think I'll go ahead and tighten up the gas tank. I mean, I know gas tanks are overrated, but what the heck. If you look at this side on the Ghost, you got an oil fill plug here, so it interferes with the gas tank. So I got the tank bolted back on there, on the back here, and then on the front, I added a couple washers underneath each side of the tank there. And then on this side, I flattened this fill plug, just ground it down flat. I could have put a dent in the tank, but you know, you want things pretty. So that worked out. So that thing's on there now. Pull this PZ carb off of here and swap on that 24, and I'll check the jetting on that thing first to make sure that we're in the ballpark. All right, so there's that. Pop this intake on here. Pop the bowl off this PWK here and check these jets. Just to make sure that we're in the ballpark here. See what we got. So it's got a 110. Maybe I'll throw something like a 115 or a 120 in there. And what's cool about these kits too, they come with extra jets and an extra needle. So we have a 115. Let's see what else it came with. Oh, another 110. So I'll throw that 115 in there. That'll get it more into the ballpark. Closer anyway. While I'm here, I might as well check out this Pilot. It might be in the ballpark. Let's see what we got. Looks like a 38 Pilot. So I'll just leave that one in there. And we'll see what happens. Put this bowl back on here. Pop this carb on here. And that looks pretty sweet on there. Man, if it doesn't run good, at least it looks good on there. I mean, that's all that counts. So while I'm at it here, I might as well throw another fuel filter on here. Get the fuel line on there. So now I will hook up these vent hoses. So one thing about these PWK carbs, they got quite a few vent hoses. So I usually zip tie them all together. Put my zip ties on here to clean this up a little bit. Cut these all off even, because you know, you want it to look good. Alright, that'll work. So now I'll hook up this throttle. Okay, so get this throttle hooked up. Get this cable down in this slide here. Tighten this up and I think we should be good to go. The air screws out about a turn and a quarter. So I'll see how it runs right there. And as long as I don't have to back it out too far, I won't have to change the pilot. Let's see if we're getting full throttle here. All right. So I didn't see an air filter in the parts box to fit this, but I have this one here that'll fit, so this will work. I've got everything on there. So now I'll fire it up and I'll see how far the air screws out. Right now it's about, like I said, about a turn and a quarter out. So if it stays around there, I think the pilot will be about right. So the idle speed doesn't get much higher, or doesn't get any higher when you turn it past about a turn and a half out. So pilot jet seems about right. Okay, got it all back together. We'll see if we can beat up on 6.61 0 to 30 and 44.98. And if we don't, at least the gas tank won't fall off.
That seems pretty snappy. Yeah, it seems quicker, but there's only one way to find out. You get this draggy hooked up here. See if we can get some satellites. Let's see if we can beat 6.61 0 to 30. We totally smoked it. It did 4.22. So definitely a lot quicker. It feels like it's going to be faster too. Let me try that again just to back that up. All right, second attempt, 0 to 30. PWK 24mm on the Ghost. Yeah, I got to work out that little bit of hesitation there, but it runs a lot better. 4.36, so we did a 4.22 and a 4.36. So it knocked off a couple of seconds, so it got quite a bit quicker. So now I'll see if we can beat 44.98 top speed. I got a little bit more carb adjustment to do because it hesitates just a little bit. Alright, so definitely a lot faster. So far we did 48.94. Yeah, definitely a lot better.
So the bike got quite a bit quicker and just a little bit faster. So the Ghost with a billet flywheel and no rev limiter did 6.61 0 to 30 and 44.98. Then I added the PWK D-slide carb and we dropped to 4.22. So it definitely got a lot quicker and then gained almost 4 miles an hour, 48.94. So the Ghost runs pretty good. Definitely woke it up with that 24 millimeter D-slide carb. You could pretty much leave the bike like it is and it'd be fun. But since he brought the parts anyway, we might as well build this Predator 224 with this rev kit and this Superman 265 cam with a billet rod and billet flywheel.